Hey folks, nothingwire.com, and I have the brand new Nikon Coolpix P7700 here. It sits right at the top of the P, that is performance series of the Coolpix cameras. In this part of the review, I'm going to show you what's in the box. So let's get started. It's a fairly huge box, which is understandable for a premium category of compact digital camera. That's the one. You have some free goodies with the retail pack. This is a review unit, so we do not have the free goodies, but when you go to buy this, if you so decides, then rest assured you will get this free goodies. So on this side you have some quick specs. Maximum 12.2 megapixel of still resolution. You have a brilliant minimum aperture of f/2, and it goes up till f/4, making it a great lens under low light. You have a 7.1x zoom. Vibration reduction is supported. Then you have a 3-lens LCD. On the back you have what should be inside the box. Then you have some pricing information here. This is MRP. The price might vary depending upon from where you're buying it. Yeah, so let's go and open the box now. There you go. Go ahead and show you what's in there. So right up there you have the user manual that will help you get going with the device. It should have all the information related to hardware as well as the software interface and also the safety informations. You have the service network details, the warranty, that's the warranty card, and then you have the reference CD. No image editing software though. What else you have? Okay, that's an audio video cable. Then you have the data cable, which should double as a charging cable as well. You have the camera strap. Then the camera body. We'll come back to it in a while. So you have the wall charging adapter, flat point. So you have the round point adapter that goes in front of this one to be used in Indian conditions. So this one goes right here. There you go. So the battery goes here while charging. That's the battery. There you go. ENEL 14,030 mAh battery. What else? Yeah, so that's about it. Now this is the camera. Boy, isn't this guy built like a tank? It's heavy as well. You can see it looks very rugged. But we'll take you deeper into the hardware of this device in the next part of our review. Thank you. Yeah, so I'm going to take you through the hardware of the Nikon Coolpix P7700 right now. The first impression, this guy is a beast. It almost seems like it's built like a tank, mostly metal body. You can see very typical Nikon DSLR like black textured metal there. You have very little plastic, even the buttons and dials are of metal. There is a hold here which has a rubber coating so that you don't your fingers don't slip. Yeah, so on the front side you have the lens, that's the lens cap. So there is no built-in lens cover there. It's a fixed lens, so Nikon could have provided a lens cover. That's the Nikon lens that I told you. You have the autofocus assist lamp there, 2 mics, the infrared receiver, and then a function button. That's the hold. There you have the secondary command dial, the sub command dial, what you call. So on this side you have the external mic out. There you go. Then you have the GPS out. On this side you have the mini HDMI and the AV out covered by a flap. So on top you have the pop-out flash, which is switched on from by this switch. There you go. You have the quick menu dial there. So switching to any particular menu will activate that particular setting. You can also press this to go to the particular setting. Then the accessory shoe, you can attach your external speed light or an external stereo microphone there. You have your shooting mode dial. As you can see, it's now in fully auto mode. You have program mode, shutter priority, aperture priority, full manual, video, custom settings. You have some scenes, some effects, and then some up to 3 user settings that you can set. Maybe your most used settings you can save as U1, U2 or U3. You have the shutter release button on the zoom lever, another function key, power button, and then you have the exposure compensation dial. On the back you have the brilliant glossy, as you can see it attracts a lot of fingerprint, 3-inch LCD. It has 921,000 dots, making it one of the brightest LCD that we've seen. So this is fully rotatable, articulated. So it goes like this. This goes like this. You can also close it while you're not using the camera to protect the lens. The hinge is broad enough so that you don't have to worry about keep rotating the LCD. So here you have the display button, that's the main command dial. You have the exposure lock button, the playback button. Then you have the multi-selection dial with the final selection OK button. So pressing it up would let you set the flash. This way is the self timer. This way would be the autofocus modes, and here would be macro and some other scene modes. You have the menu and the delete button there as usual. So below you have the tripod mount, and then the battery and the SD card compartment. It supports full SD card, SD, SDHC or SDXC. That's the battery we've shown you during our unboxing. So it's the EN-EL 14030 mAh battery. Okay. You have this kind of hole or port to which the strap is connected. Yeah. What else? Yeah, so that's mostly about it. This guy is a little heavy because it's almost totally made out of metal. But then this additional weight actually gives the system that all the more stability while operating with one hand. The rubbery grip adds to the stability, and overall this guy is an absolute pleasure to operate with one hand, and almost from any position thanks to the rotating LCD screen. So I'm going to show you the software interface in a while. Thank you. Hi, so I'm going to show you the user interface of the P7700 now. So let's switch this guy on and we get to the LCD screen. Now a few words about the screen. It's a 3-inch diagonally TFT LCD screen. It's one of the brightest and most crisp screen we've seen. So it has 921,000 dots, and the viewing angles are tremendous. You can almost see what's there from about 20 degrees from the horizontal plane. That's really incredible. No reflection there, see? This is brilliant for a camera display. Yeah, so coming back to the UI. So here you have a number of shooting modes. We're going to show you one by one. Here you have the quick menu dial and the exposure compensation dial here. So you can see right now the camera is in full auto mode, so you will have very little customization options. We're going to see. So that's the display, all the current settings. You can toggle the display with this particular button. There you go. So in fully automatic mode, you can lock the exposure, you can play back a file, you can change the flash provided it's out. So you can change it to auto red eye reduction, and some other slow sync, etc. You can also select the self timer mode, that's off. You have the self timer, you have the remote timer, you have the smile timer. Below you have the autofocus, close range, not exactly macro, then the true macro, and then infinity, which is basically the landscape mode. In full auto mode, you do not have the autofocus area selection enabled. That's the menu button, and with this you can delete a photo. So let's see what the menu shows us. So it only shows us the system settings. Flash control, this is the firmware version. You can set the welcome screen to none, cool pics, or you can select one of the images to show when the camera switches on. So time zone and date, then you have a monitor. You can set the brightness here. You can select to show photo infos, but that's quite intrusive, so I suggest you do not switch this on. And some other, let's see, vibration reduction is on. So remember, when you're shooting on a tripod, switch off this vibration reduction. AF assist is auto. You have some other settings here. Okay, so you have a few settings in the playback mode as well. So you can quickly retouch the photo. So there you see the photo has been retouched. Oh, so that's the original one and that's the retouched one. Okay, so there you have some other settings there. You can soften the skin, or you can have a number of filter options. So when you select fish eye, it'll show you kind of fish eye, so bulging in the middle. I'll go back. You can have miniature effect or vignette or whatever that you wanna add to add that bit of fun to your photo. You can protect your photos, copy your photo to and from the camera memory to SD card. Yeah. So you have some system settings there. You can set your function buttons. It supports iFi, but then you would need an optional iFi card to transfer files from this camera to your system. Yep. So that's about the auto mode. Now let's go to the program mode. And now you will have a few new icons. That's the shutter speed, that's the aperture. So here when we go to menu, we have new settings. So you have a noise reduction filter as normal. So in ideal conditions or under enough light, you might want to keep it in normal mode, but then if you're shooting at low light and you're using a high ISO setting, then probably you can set this to high. Flash exposure compensation, autofocus mode, you have single or full time or continuous autofocus. AF area mode, which can also be reached now by pressing the right button there. So that's center, center wide, subject tracking, target finding, manual, auto and face priority. I'll go back to default and then yeah, so continuous. So now it's single photo. You have continuous high, medium and low, BSS, multi-shot, continuous very high speed. You can see at an incredible 120 frame per second, but it's only possible if you're taking VGA photos. 60 frame per second is possible if you're taking the photos in 1 MP. What else? Metering. So you have the usual metric, center weighted or spot metering options. Custom picture control. Let's go below and see. So this is something new, built-in ND filter. You can switch this on or off. ND is neutral density. Distortion control, delighting, zoom memory, again a new preset. It brings in an effect as if your lens is pointed directly into the subject. Yeah. So the system settings are pretty much the same with the full auto mode. Let's go and check out if you have new menu options in playback mode. No, so these are pretty much the same options. These options are also available in full auto mode. Yeah. Now, by the way, I'll take a minute to explain this. So this is the quick menu dial, what you call. So the moment it's in WB white balance settings now, the moment I bring it to ISO, you will see the ISO settings, and you can change it from here. So you can see there are a lot of options. Auto, you have ISO that range from 80 till 200. This guy supports from ISO from 80 till 3200, but then 3200 is only available in certain settings. We anyway do not recommend you to shoot beyond 800 because that'll bring a lot of noise to your photograph. So these are the settings. I'll keep it in the 80 to 800 mode. You have the minimum shutter speed. I'll keep it to 1 second. Okay. So you have image quality mode. So if you like to edit your image a lot, then you can use NRW, which is Nikon's format for RAW photos. You can also use RAW plus the best quality JPEG, but that will use up a lot of space. So I'll keep it in RAW only, in which mode I mostly shoot, even with a DSLR. Then you have the image color distribution options. See, vivid, monochrome, neutral, etc. The standard is recommended in most conditions. You can fine tune those. Then you have some other stuffs here. You have a bracketing option. Okay. Then the last is the white balance setting. So I mostly take my photos in daylight white balance mode. You can fine tune it. Yep, so once you press OK, it will go back to your normal display mode. But then to bring it into effect quickly, you can just press this particular button, and you'll get to that. You'll get to the settings which is selected here. Okay, and that's the exposure compensation button. There you can see the dialer. So let's go to shutter priority mode, and you can now you can now customize the shutter priority, the shutter speed with the main command dial. See this changing, and the camera would automatically change the aperture. You can see the aperture is now changed automatically. Okay, so you have the aperture priority mode, in which you change the aperture and the camera will change the shutter speed accordingly. You change the aperture with the sub command dial. So once you have this, you can set the aperture, and you can see the smaller your aperture gets, the slower your shutter speed gets. Yep. So if you'd rather use the manual mode, then at this point you can use the main command dial to alter the shutter speed and the sub command dial to alter the aperture. So that's the exposure preview scale there. So as you can see, now it's very underexposed, the whitish. So your aim is to bring the white scale to the middle. So let's see how we do it. So we reduce the shutter speed, we open up the aperture, and you can see this, the underexposure is reducing, and once, yeah. So now if you take a picture, it will be properly exposed. So you have the movie record button. There you go. So it records at full HD 1920 by 1080 pixels at 30 frame per second. You have the menu options here. You can reduce the wind noise. That's the autofocus mode. That's the continuous autofocus mode. So you can, here you have some video related settings. The next button is video custom settings, where you can adjust some settings, like in case of the photos. There you go, you can change the shooting mode. You have some special effects to apply as well. Same options. Alright, so you have the scene mode, in which you can select a number of scenes. So the first one is auto selector. So the camera will auto select the scene depending on what you're shooting. You have portrait, landscape, sports, night portrait, beach, sunset, all jazzy stuff there. You also have 3D photography, by the way. Then in settings you have basically the same settings. Go to FX, and there you have a creative monochrome effect. You can reduce the grain. There you go. So there you have the special effects. You can have the painting, and you can see a preview of the effects that's there. So if it's not very visible, now you can see. That was monochrome, then painting effect. Then you have the zoom exposure that I talked about before. Cross poses, soft, nostalgic sepia, high, low key, and selective color. This is something I really find cool. You can also set the autofocus mode. So once you do that, then here is a normal picture, but this one, and you will only see wherever the pink color is getting highlighted, and rest all going to monochrome. There you see the red color getting highlighted there, the yellow color getting highlighted there. This is one pretty cool effect that I like. Settings are again the same, and then you can set your user settings. So you can save the user settings. You can set your frequently used settings here and then save them as up to 3 customized settings here. Yeah, so I guess that's pretty much about it, about the software interface. Lot of manual controls, so there is a bit of a learning curve, but then once you get used to it, the manual controls and the filters and effects and the combinations of settings give you a very good control over how you want to shoot and record a picture or a video. Thank you.